Hi and welcome to Our Gamified World. I'm Danielle Tachenay.
And I'm Adam Brown.
And on this week's episode we talk about Rocksmith.
Exactly right. We've already talked about Rocksmith at the field trip, which we've used a little bit of footage from already. And you explained your use of Rocksmith as a musician. Can you tell us a little bit about your context? Because you actually are a band member. And
Yes, I'm a singer in a rock band. But previous to that, when I was in high school, I did learn guitar. And so I had that basic level of knowledge. And so Rocksmith, as a video game, it was a good motivator for me to keep practicing and maintain that exposure to the guitar. And it was a fun experience for me.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, this is what Danielle said at the field trip.
I am never going to use Rocksmith for very good reasons. But can you tell us a little bit about Rocksmith? Because your musical interests certainly have intersected in gamified ways with that.
So Rocksmith is another educational game, but it's a game, but it's also gamified. So I'll explain it. So it's basically like Guitar Hero with a real guitar, so you can learn real skills from it. And so you can play songs that you know. There's like quite an extensive library of songs. But you can also play mini games where you use your guitar as like a controller, and you play like retro arcade games where you can shoot ducks by playing an A note or playing a B note and pow. But it's like it's inherently the way they approach it. You don't know you're learning. It's like this secret thing. It's like, oh, I'm not learning. I'm just having fun. I couldn't be having fun when I'm learning. This isn't educational. And a lot of people call that a head fake learning approach, where students are tricked into learning something.
And the other great thing about Rocksmith, from what I understand, is that there's a scaffolding aspect to it. It kind of accommodates your learning in lots of ways.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you're learning guitar, you're not perfect and you're going to make mistakes. And so whilst you're playing a song, Rocksmith changes the level of easiness. So it might subtly take away a chord and just give you a couple of single notes to play. And then as you get better throughout the song, it'll bring that level of hardness, it'll bring that up. So it doesn't punish the user, which I think is really good.
So it kind of tracks your learning and takes you down a level, but just for your own benefit, I guess. Yeah.
And it also gives you some pretty detailed stats at the end. So they're quite interesting because in this analytical world, we always want to see how we're doing to a drilled down T. So yeah,
that's great. What happened at the field trip when we talked about it? A student in the audience brought up a fantastic point about when Rocksmith was released, there were some issues around it in the eyes of a lot of musicians. People in the music industry felt that, well, this is just kind of, edutainment in a sense. It's just almost making fun of them, I guess, was their self-perception of it, because they didn't feel it was about the music. It was about just playing a game.
Fascinating. I mean, you could apply that more broadly. I mean, how many people would say that a lot of things that are gamified, it shouldn't need to be gamified, but somehow we've suddenly got this thing I sometimes call a crisis of engagement across various sections of society, and gamification does bring us to the point of doing that. That's great. Thank you. I hadn't heard that.
It's interesting that you say that. I mean, we all need, if you're playing guitar or playing a musical instrument, you have to play your scales. You just have to, in order to get around the instrument, feel comfortable with it, and also just keep that technique up. But it's like in Rocksmith, you're shooting bad guys when you're playing a pentatonic scales, and it's like, you have to eat your vegetables, but let's just cover them in sugar.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time for a look at Team Treehouse.
And don't forget to subscribe below, and please feel free to send us a comment or a question.